Hello, good morning students. Today we can continue with the care of old age. That we can see about the use of aids and prosthesis. As age advances, the old age persons they need some assistive devices. That's about aids and prosthesis. In our syllabus, you have to discuss about only two items. One is use of hearing aids and another one is dentures. In your second year classes, you covered the hearing aids. Anyway, first we can see about the hearing aids. A hearing aid, that's a personal amplifying system that includes a microphone, an amplifier, and a loudspeaker. The conventional wearable hearing aid are self-contained amplifying systems. They include the microphone to pick up the sound energy and amplifier to boost the level of the signal and various filters and other devices that modify the sound to match it more precisely to the needs of the impaired listener. This is about the working of the hearing aid. In addition, air conduction instruments included miniature air loudspeaker called a receiver is there to generate the amplifying sound which is routed into the ear canal. Bone conduction instrument delivers the energy to the cochlea by vibrating the skull with a small transducer. Finally, all hearing aids require power source and battery. Early hearing aids we worn on the body or carried in the pocket, but these types are very seldom seen today. Current air conduction hearing aids are almost all worn at the ear or at the ear level, and there are several different type of hearing aids. We might have seen the people, all old age persons, they are wearing different types of hearing aids, some inside the ears and outside the ear, like that. We can see the types. The first one is behind the ear, BTE models. BTE models fit snugly over the pin of the external ear and deliver sound to the ear canal through a plastic tube and plug. That is an ear mold is there for this behind the ear type. Next type is called in the ear. ITE type molds are manufactured with all the components inside the custom ear mold. The components, I already discussed the parts of the hearing aid. These all components are inside a custom mold. This type of hearing aid fits into the cochlea of the ear. Now, third type is in the canal, ITC models. That ITC models are smaller ITE model in the ear models. That ITC is a smaller type of in the ear models. That's a ITE version that fits mostly into the outer end of the ear canal. Now, the last model, fourth model, that is completely in the canal, CIC, completely in the canal model. These models are the smallest devices and fit entirely inside the ear canal. In that type, the last described type, the observer, he may not be able to identify that the person is wearing wearing a hearing aid. That is the advantage of the fourth type, but it's very costly. This is all about the hearing aids. Then along with the hearing aids, another device is there, that is cochlear implants. The cochlear implants that bypasses the damaged cells of the inner ear, that is the cochlea, to provide sound signals to the brain. A cochlear implant is an electronic medical device that replaces the function of the damaged inner ear. Cochlear implants attempt to replace the transducer function of the damaged inner ear hair cells. Most causes of sensorineuronal deafness results in injury to the hair cells rather than to the auditory nerve fibers. That's why prolonged deafness eventually affects the auditory nerve as the neurons rely on neurotrophic factors, that is proteins produced by the hair cells for their survival. So it has been shown that electrical stimulation provided by the cochlear implants can prevent the neural degeneration. Cochlear implant, that's mainly used for those who are having sensory neuronal hearing deficits. The device are continuously undergoing modifications and upgrading. Yeah, there are different types are there. However, the basic components of the systems have not changed. That is same as that of the hearing aid. Then once we are using it, we have to insert the aid within the canal portion pointing into the ear. Press and twist until it sunk in the ear. That about the cochlear implant. In addition to this hearing aid and cochlear implant, there are some other assistive listening devices. And the word is clear that they all are assistive listening devices helping, assisting. The person is already wearing an hearing aid or a cochlear implant. These instruments, they all are the assistive devices. In addition to the conventional hearing aids and cochlear implants, there is a category of technology that is called assistive listening device. These devices are typically used part-time either instead of or in addition to hearing aids or implants. They are usually targeted towards improving the communication functionally in specific limited situations, such as talking on telephone, communicating over a distance, attending the theater, or detecting doorbelling. These all are some difficult situations. Once the person is in a crowd or in a theater, and other external interference is there, the sound disturbance is there, means in order to modify it and help the hearing aid to receive it properly, we are using this assistive listening devices. Now, in general, we can see how to use the hearing aid. That is important. Initially, wear the hearing aid 15 to 20 minutes daily. Gradually increase to 10 to 12 hours. Adjust the volume to a level of comfortable for talking at a distance of 1 meter. The therapist, they will arrange everything for the person. A whistling sound indicator incorrect insertion. Turn aid slowly to 1/3 to 1/2 volume. Then make sure that the hearing aid is on position. Or again, make clear that it is clean and has adequate power or batteries are there. Then continue to observe of non-verbal cues. Even though we are keeping the hearing aids, the person has to observe for the non-verbal cues. Then sit close to the speaker in noisy situations. Concentrate on conversation. Request to repeat if necessary or if it is not clear for the person. Then the ear mold needs replacement every 2 to 3 years. It's not lifelong. Need a replacement every 2 to 3 years. Insert battery only in the hearing aid once it is turned off. Then remove and disconnect the batteries when it's not in use. That is important. We have to remove the battery and keep the hearing aids. Then batteries should be checked and changed periodically. Then hearing aids should be applied to the correct ear. If using two aids, it should be marked properly. That means left and right, it should be marked properly. Then clean the sermon from tip with the pipe cleaner. There is chances of accumulation of earwax. So have to clean it properly. Before insertion, check for cracks or rough edges of the hearing aids. Otherwise, it can cause injury for the person. Ear injuries can occur. Then we can discuss about the common problems with the hearing aids. Switch turned off. Automatically there is chances of turning off of the switch. Then clogged ear mold. It is clogged like that. Then dislodged battery. Then twisted tubing, ear mold and ear aid. These all are some problems that can occur. So we have to consult the therapist and correct the implant. Then the care of the hearing aid. Verify that the hearing aid are functional. Caregivers should receive specific training in how to place them in the ear canal. Store in a marked container in a safe place. Then don't wear aid while bathing or that perspiring heavily when doing exercises and all. Keep away from very hot or cold places. Then take care to prevent dropping of the hearing aid. That can cause damages. Then keep hearing aid out of children and out of pets. Then remove the hearing aid before any medical procedures that involving scanning, MRI scan, CT scan and all. Then don't try to lubricate the hearing aids. That can damage the instrument. Then never immerse the hearing aid in water. Just clean it only, never immerse it in water. Then remove the hearing aid before using hairspray, perfumes and shaving lotions. Then look for red, that for right, and blue for left markers for correct placement. For left ear, that is the old age person, they may have some visual problems also. That's why the right side it's marked with the red color and left side that is marked with the blue color. Then minimize the moisture in the hearing aids. Clean the hearing aids with the soft dry cloth. Then check batteries. Perform and means listening check whether able to hear properly. This is all about the care of the hearing aids. Now one prosthesis is over. That's about the ear prosthesis, hearing aids, cochlear implants and other assistive devices. Now move to the second type of prosthesis, that is dentures. You know that your grandparents or the old age people you're observing outside the outside your home, they may be wearing this dental prosthesis. Age advances, there is missing of teeth. That's why in order to maintain the beauty or aesthetic sense and in order to meet the needs, nutritional needs, the old age person, they have to wear the dentures. About dentures, dentures are prosthetic devices constructed to replace the missing teeth. They are supported by the surrounding soft and hard tissues of the oral cavity. A minor adjustment or use of fixative agent or a cushion is required to prevent painful problems for the patient. Some are advised to use some lubricants, anesthetic lubricants also. So before inserting that, inspect the mouth properly. Or every day the person has to inspect the mouth and report any problems that occur. Because the hearing aids is a prosthesis. If it is not fitted properly, there is chances of irritation, ulceration of the gums and oral mucous membrane. Later it become a big ulcer, can lead to oral cancers. That's very important to observe the oral cavity. Suppose a person is wearing the dentures. Types of dentures I already discussed along with the plastic surgery classes and all, and that process is aesthetic surgeries. That time I discussed. The types are means of one a set of dentures are there, then pieces of dentures are there. There are many types are there. Now about the care of the dentures. The care of the dentures means it's clear that the dentures are not fitter for lifelong time because of the aging process. The proportions of the oral cavity and proportions of the mandible maxilla, this all can change, and later the prosthesis, the dentures that may be unfitting for the oral cavity. So it's not for lifelong. Them thinking about the care. The dentures, before keeping the dentures, the person has to clean his oral cavity properly, how to brush it properly, and it's better the person can have little hot water gargle before keeping the dentures. And means before usually it's better the dentures we can keep in a container having some liquid, that is water, plain water we are using, that we are dipping and keeping the dentures. Once we are taking out the dentures from the container, the first step we have to wash it properly. So once we are washing, if it falls means there is chance, dropped means there is chance of breakage. So you should be very careful while you are washing the dentures. Then brush it properly or wash it properly over a sink, and it's for protection. You can keep a cloth over the sink while washing. Suppose if there is a chance of drop, it should not break. That's why. Then never you can use the oral cleaning agents to wash the denture also. Never use soap or that type of irritant chemicals to wash the dentures. Then remove means from this cleaning solution you can remove it, then brush it properly, then you can wear the dentures. While wearing, if it's painful means observe it, again take it out and fit it properly. That is, then after maybe the person is having food, then after each use the person has to take the dentures out, again wash it and keep it back, then clean thoroughly every day. Then if the dentures are not fitting properly, please inform the physician. This is all about dentures. This is a portion about prosthesis, the hearing aids and dentures. Now we can discuss about the legal and ethical aspects of old age. The most common legal and ethical issues in geriatric care involve assessment of decisional capacity and competence, identification of the decision makers, resolution of conflicts about care, disclosure of information, termination of treatment at the end of life, and the decision about long-term care. Although the approach to resolution of these issues is similar in all age groups, the physiological, psychological, and social reserves of the elderly place them at a greater risk of adverse outcomes. The old age that may pose many challenges. That's why it's very important to discuss about the legal aspects of old age. First legal aspect is, as you all know, it's about informed consent. An informed consent means a decisionally capable patient's legally binding treatment decision reached voluntarily and based on information about risk, benefits, and alternative treatments gained from the discussion with a healthcare practitioner. That's all informed consent. There are many legal principles are behind this informed consent. You all know about the importance of taking informed consent before undergoing a surgery or before going any invasive procedures, performing any procedures for the patient. We must take informed consent. Explain the patient properly, clear their doubts, reduce their anxiety. Once they are understanding what they are going to undergo, they are understanding the risk, benefits, and alternative methods, the complication possibilities, everything we are explaining. Then the last they are giving a written document, that's of informed consent. They are putting their sign. Same way, a witness sign also there in that informed consent. A self-determination, that is the concept behind this informed consent. The person is taking a decision or a determination that they are going to undergo this particular procedure with their own risk. Now we can see about the second type of legal or ethical issue. That's all about advance directive. Advance directive. A general term, this is a general term that used to describe the documents that give instructions about further medical care and treatment and who should make them in the event the person is unable to communicate. The older person is giving this advance directive. In advance, the person is giving some directions related to their care in future, the medical care, the medical treatment. Once the person is not able to communicate, who will take care of the person, and it should comply with the guidance established by the state of the means the country or the state laws, country laws or state laws. Now we think about the types of advance directives. First one is living will. Living will means a lay term used frequently to describe any number of documents that give instructions about future medical care and treatments or the wish to be allowed to die without heroic or extraordinary measures should the patient be unable to communicate for self. From the definition, it's clear that living will, it's where the first and the most widespread type of the advance directive. Gives everything, every information about a person, perceiving that later the condition is going worse and the person may not be able to communicate effectively. They were proposed as a mechanism for refusing heroic or unwanted medical interventions for the particular dying persons. Not even for dying, medical intervention for any chronic illness or serious illness like that. They allow a person to state in writing that certain life-sustaining treatment should be withdrawn or withheld when that person is dying and unable to directly communicate his or her own wishes. The person is incapable of communicating his or her own wishes. That time, it gives some directions what to do, withhold or withhold the life-saving measures. The living wills only allow for the refusal of further treatment. They are not precise in terms of directives and focus only on the patient who is clearly terminally ill. While considering the living wills, the specific documents must be identified properly. This is about first directive, that is of living will. Next we can see about the healthcare proxy. Healthcare proxy. This document appoints a proxy, that's a person, to act on behalf of another person, provides guidance for the proxy, and endures even when the maker is incapacitated. Appointing a proxy to act behalf of the person once he become incapacitated. This is always a written document. The document states the preferences and perhaps even the values of its maker. That statement, they are writing their preferences. This is my preference. This is about my values, about life, about treatment. Then even it's like that the proxy can take some decisions. It outlines the types of decisions the person would want to have made on his behalf. What type of decisions the proxy must take? It explains that. Because no healthcare proxy document can cover all the situations. The document should name a person who has the task of ensuring that the patient wishes are honored. The proxy has the responsibility to interpret the document. He can interpret, the proxy only can interpret the document and explorate its content to particular situations and can take decisions. This is about the proxy. It's directing a person. In that document is directing a person on behalf of the unhealthy person. That is a proxy. Now the next item, that is a directive to physicians. This is concerned with some directions the deceased person is giving to physicians. A written document specifying the patient's wish to be allowed to die without extraordinary measures, or directing the physician that this all treatment you must provide for me if I am chronically ill. It also, there are some specific measures to be used to withhold or withhold. Next is another order, medical power attorney. Medical power attorney. The term used by some states to describe a document used for listing the person or persons to make the healthcare decision should a patient becomes unable to make informed decisions for self. The person appointed may be called a healthcare agent, surrogate, attorney in fact, or proxy. This is medical power of attorney, that they are directing a proxy for taking decisions. The document describes many issues, how to tackle that problems and what decision should take during that particular problem. These all contents included in that medical power attorney. Next one is, do not resuscitate DNR orders. A written physician's order to instructing the healthcare providers not to attempt the CPR, often requested by the patient or the family. It must be signed by the physician, then only it is valid. That means the physician is giving directions to the healthcare providers saying that not to resuscitate, should not give CPR for that particular person and let him die. It's the wish of his family members or the person himself. Now, another concept is the autonomy. Autonomy is the personal freedom and independence to direct one's own life Means it's a independence to direct one's own life and make choices. Autonomy is the freedom to make choices for and about oneself. That autonomy allows a person to take decisions or take their own decisions. The next legal aspect is confidentiality and disclosure. Confidentiality and disclosure. The ethical oaths and specific status protect the confidentiality of physical situations of a patient. Again, how to keep it confident about the physician-patient communication. Again, about patient's treatment, the disease condition, its progress. The person is having the right to keep it in confidence. Then disclosure means if there is some consequences about these decisions, the concerned authority, they can disclose the matters. That's of disclosure. Now, then we can see some nursing considerations related to legal aspects. Under the Patient Self-Determination Act, all patients who enter a Medicare or in a healthcare facility, in a nursing home or a home healthcare agency, whatever it may be, we should do something. We must do something. That means be provided with information about the country's laws and the facilities, policies regarding advance directives. You can ask the person whether it's written, advance directives is written. If they having the advance directiveness, you must get a copy and how to keep that in patient's medical record. That's our responsibility. If they have written any living will or any directions, whatever it may be, ask them during the time of admission and take a copy and keep it in the patient's file. Next responsibility is the education of the patients and his families and helping them understand the need of and the importance of these living wills or the advance directives. Then about the proxy and all, you must inform to the family members. Now the community and home care considerations about the legal aspects. Instruct older adults that they will be allowed to record their wishes about various types of medical treatment and let them appoint a proxy for if and when they are unable to make those decisions on their own. Instruct them. Can already there is chances for being unhealthy or incapacitated. That time they can write and keep a advance directive. Now another concept that is about advocacy for the disabled advocacy for disabled. Disability may strike any age group, ethnic or racial in origin, any socio-economic group, there is chances for disability. The nurses, they must not provide skilled physical care to reduce the complications is questionable. So, they are not only providing skilled physical care to reduce the complications, also they are enhancing the rehabilitation potential of the disabled persons. So, they are acting as an advocate for the patient. This is advocacy for the disabled. Once disabled means they can't express their feelings, they can't fight for their rights. So it's nurse's responsibility. The nurse has to act as an advocate and bargain for him. Health team is there, can express his needs on behalf of him in front of the health team. That is the advocacy role of the nurse in case of disabled. So you know what is disability means? Disability can be viewed as any restriction or lack of ability to perform the activities in a manner that is a normal person is able to do. That is of disability. Earlier we were using another term, you know, that is a handicap. Now we are not using that term, handicap. So think about the disability laws. There were many laws enacted to provide funding for health care, education, occasion rehabilitation for this disabled. All state and local government institutions are required to provide equal opportunities for all individuals with disabilities to take part in all programs, services, everything. We can't keep them away from the opportunities. We also consider the disabled as a normal person and consider their rights. Disability related laws are another legal aspects that we discussed. Now we can see about the restrained use. And we are familiar with this concept, the restrained use. The resident, they are in the hospital or homestay or even at home, the old age person has the right to be free from any physical restraints imposed or any psychoactive drugs administered for the purpose of discipline or convenience and that not required to treat the resident's medical symptoms. In many situations, the caregivers for their convenience and for the discipline, they may be restraining the old persons, the sick persons. The same way, restraining the means of physical restraint or using some sedatives to restrain the persons of making the person calm. The physical restraints are any manual method of physical or mechanical device, material or equipment attached to or adjust to the resident's body that the person cannot move easily, which restrict the freedom of movement or access to one's body, including the leg and arm restraints, hand mitts, soft ties, vest ties, wheelchair safety bars. These all are some physical restraints. There are some less restrictive measures also there. You know, in our hospital we are just tying the hand with the tie. That are simple measures. Anyway, if you want to use these restraints, the person must give consent. That is the legal aspect. Then, the need for restraint should be reevaluated periodically. You know that some physicians, they may not allow us to restrain the irritated patients. So, it's not legally accepted. Otherwise, the primary health care provider must write appropriate order for restraints. Then some psychoactive drugs we are providing for the patients to restrain. Then the physician is writing some drugs to calm down the patient. That all options we can select. Considering the nursing views, the most frequently the nurses reported the reason why they are restraining the patients that include the patient will harm himself the patient will harm others. It's a nuisance for other patients. It's very difficult for the nurse to manage the ward, or he is not able to perform her duties and responsibilities. It's very difficult for the nurse to administer medications. These all are some excuses from the nursing personnel. The same way, it's better to prevent accidents, better to prevent falls if you are restraining the patient. Another concept, if you are not restraining, the patient may remove the IV cannulas, catheters frequently. That can harm the patient. Means some concepts are there, some rights are there. Still, the law may not permit it properly. In regard to the patient's personal and social integrity, restraints have resulted in emotional responses of anger, fear, resistance, humiliation, demoralization, discomfort, resignation, and denial. Think if we are restraining the patient, they will become more agitated, irritated, they will quarrel, they may not obey us, they are not cooperating. These all are one side of the ill effects of restraints. Anyway, another ethical and legal aspect is of the use of restraints. This is all about ethical aspect. Now we can see some more ethical concepts related to patient care. The nurse who work with the older adult identifies the areas of ethical concerns that influence the practice. The nurse can identify that the issues including to restrain, just I told, to restrain or not restrain, to evaluate the patient's ability to make decisions. Other concerns include about the resuscitation, treatment of infections, medication options, issues of nutrition and hydration, transfer to more intensive treatment, even to transfer to long-term care facilities. In all situations, there are some ethical dilemmas or ethical concerns are there. These situations are often complex and is emotionally charged. The nurse can assist the patient, can assist the family and other healthcare workers by acknowledging when the ethical dilemma is present. For that, we must have adequate knowledge about the legal and ethical issues, keeping in current on the ethical implications of new biotechnology. Same way, advocating for an institutional ethics committee to help in the decision making process. Can ask the opinion of the ethical committee for decisions. This all comes under legal and ethical concerns of old age. Next, we can see about the privileges, provisions and programs for the elderly. There are many privileges for the elderly declared by state government and central government. The same way, there many provisions are there for the elderly. Also, there are many programs there for the elderly. Different unions are there. Now, first we can see about the state level programs and provisions. In Kerala context, different types of community-based programs are working all over Kerala for the welfare of the senior citizens. The community-based programs, for one example, is Elders Self-Help Group, ESHG. Another one is Pensioner Union. Next one is Senior Citizen Association and Community Policing, providing care, and these all programs, they are providing care and support for the elderly. We can first see about the elder self-help group. It's a community-based program of elderly above 60 years. So aim of this program is to improve the living conditions of the elderly. There may be 10 to 20 active members, elderly persons are there in the minute structure of that groups. The group itself have its own office bearers. They are elected by themselves and they look after the day-to-day activities of this particular group. The group meet for 4 times every month. The same way, they may be taking some decisions and they may be informing this decision to the higher levels of this particular organization. Anyway, this group is there for the welfare of the older adults. Now, it's a common another group, that is the Kerala State Service Pensioners Union, KSSPU. It is started working in 1992, focuses on the welfare and rights of the pensioners, those who are retired from the state government services. The Pensioners Union also works under different stages. That is, unit level programs are there, block level programs are there, district level and state level committee. That way, a lot of stages are there for this Service Pensioners Union. Here also monthly they are meeting together. Unit level meeting is there, block level meeting, state level meeting, district level meeting, everything is there. Their activities such as induction of new members, then collecting monthly funds, identifying the destitute elderly for assistance and organize monthly meeting regularly. These all are some responsibilities. Then they introduced a magazine, Pensioners Union magazine, informing the current issues and giving some new information through these magazines. That is entitled The Service Pensioners. And about the activities, about the programs, everything we will get information through this magazine. Besides the state level associations, pensioners associations, Government of India, GOA Pensioners Association also working in Kerala, All India Central Government Pensioners Associations, AICGPA, All India Organizations of Pensioners, AIOP, Indian Ex-Servicemen's Associations, All India Retired Railwaymen's Federation, AIRRF, BSNL Employees Pensioners Association, etc. Some of the main pensioners associations and unions in Kerala for the welfare of retired employees from state government as well as for central government. Now we move to the third one, senior citizens associations. They all are voluntary associations for the welfare and protection of the elderly. So Federation of Senior Citizens Associations and Kerala Senior Citizens Forum, two associations are there, Federation of Senior Citizen Association and Kerala Senior Citizen Forum are the main two associations comes under this category. Both these types, the forum and federation, both promote psychosocial solidarity among the senior citizen at the local level and use it as a common platform to discuss the elderly problems and issues. These organizations occasionally organize medical camp, mobilize resources to social assets and become centers for cultural and recreational activities. It also ensures the nutrition and psychological welfare of the elderly. This is about these associations, senior citizen association. The first one is elders self-help group. Second one, pensioners unions. Third one, senior citizen associations. The fourth one we can move, that is community policing. You know about Janamaitri police. That Janamaitri police introduced in Kerala in 2008 and is intended to protect the life and wealth of elderly. The community policing use the resources of local community to give security and protection to the elderly in distress and fear. Appropriate training is given to the best officers, then assistant beat officers and community liaison groups for effective coordination of community policing. The community policing was initiated on an experimental basis in 20 police stations first. Now, at present, the implementation covered 100 police stations. The government of Kerala planned to extend this program to all police stations in the state. As a part of this Janamaitri program, the police department has allocated 10 crore in 2012 to implement special security measures for the elderly persons. So, under the program, the Senior Citizen Police Service, the bureau will be set up in all district police headquarters. The bureau is having a 24-hour helpline services for the care of elderly. A DYSP rank officer is the nodal officer of this project. This bureau is responsible for creating a data bank of senior citizens under its jurisdiction. The service bureau assists the elderly to verify the service providers such as house servant, drivers, home nurses, etc. An elder-friendly officer will be posted in each police station for offering that services effectively for elderly. That means the older person is having caregivers, housemaid, house servants, or having some drivers. They are living alone. They may have help. They may receive help from drivers, help, homemaid and all. That day they are watched and observed by the police officer. Apart from these community-based programs, some more initiatives are there. One is the Senior Citizen Maintenance, Care and Protection Act in 2007. Senior Citizen Maintenance, Care and Protection Act in 2007. Another one is National Policy on Older People. Another one, National Council for Older Persons. Next, Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme. Then Annapurna Scheme. Vayomitram. Then Railway and Flight Travel Concessions, Daycare Centers and Mobile Medical Care. These all are some other services or programs or privileges for old age. Senior Citizen Maintenance, Care and Protection Act in 2007, National Policy on Older People, National Council for Older Person, Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme, Annapurna Scheme, Vayomitram, Railway and Flight Travel Concession Schemes, Daycare Centers and Mobile Medical Care. Over the years, the government has launched various schemes and various policies for the elderly, and they have implemented many programs for the elderly. These policies and schemes are meant to promote health, well-being and independence of elderly people around the country. Some of these provisions we can discuss. The government policies. That's of the central government. Already discussed about the state government policies. Now we can discuss about the other policies, common policies, central government policies. The first one included in relevant constitutional provisions. Second category is legislations. The third category is various policies and programs of central government for elderly people. The fourth category, some other important activities. These four categories have classified these programs. First we can see about the relevant constitutional provisions. Constitutional provisions, first is the Article 41 of the Constitution. The 41 of the Directive Principles of State Policy has particular relevance to old age social security. According to the Article 41 of the Constitution of India, the state shall, within the limits of its economic capacity and development, make effective provision for securing the right to work, to education and to public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness and disablement, and in other cases of undeserved want. That is of Article 41. Now, next relevant constitutional provision, that is of Article 47 of the Constitution. The Article 47 of the Constitution of India provides that the state shall regard the raising of the level of nutrition and the standard of living of old people and improvement of public health as among its primary duties. So, it's clear. 47 discuss about the nutritional status and well-being of the old age. Some other constitutional provisions, that is entry 24 in the list 3 of the scheduled 7 of Constitution of India, that deals with the welfare of labor, including conditions of work, provident funds, liability for workmen's compensation, invalidity and old age pension and maternity benefits. From this Constitution is discussed about the old age pensions. Then item number 9 of the state list and item number 20, 23 and 24 of the state list, current list, relates to old age, pension, social security and social insurance and economical and social planning. Item number 9, 20, 23 and 24 deals with the pension, social security and social planning. The right of parents without any means to be supported by their children having sufficient means has been recognized by section 125 1D of the Code of Criminal Procedure in 1973 and section 21 and 3 of the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act of 1956. These all laws, that's children has to take care of their parents. Among the administrative setup, the Ministry of Social Justice and Environment focuses on policies and programs for elderly in close collaboration with the state governments, non-governmental organizations and civil society. The programs aim at their welfare, maintenance, especially for indigent elderly by supporting old age homes, daycare centers, mobile medical units, etc. These all comes under relevant constitutional provisions. Now, we may go to some legislations. Legislation. Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act in 2007. The Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act in 2007 was enacted in December 2007 to ensure need-based maintenance for parents and senior citizens and their welfare. The Section 19 of the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act of 2007 envisages provisions of at least one old age home for indigent senior citizens with a capacity of 150 persons in every district of the country. It says that every district must have a old age home having 150 bed capacity. The objectives of the Act are revocation of transfer of property by senior citizens in case of negligence by relatives, maintenance of parents, senior citizens by children, relatives made obligatory and justiciable through tribunals, pension provision for the abandonment of senior citizens, adequate medical facilities and security for senior citizens. Establish old age homes for indigent senior citizens. Mainly, old age homes, pensions. We are considering all the aspects of senior citizens by this Act. Now, the third aspect, that is various policies and programs of central government for elderly people. Policies and programs by central governments. Several initiative steps for various policies and programs for the elderly have been taken by central government, India government. We can discuss some of that policies and programs. The first one comes the National Policy for Older Pensions, NPOP, in 1999. The National Policy Older Pensions was announced by the central government of India in the year 1999 to reform the commitment to ensure the well-being of the older persons. It was set up to promote the health, safety, social security, well-being of elderly in India. The policy recognizes a person aged 60 years and above as elderly. This policy enables and supports voluntary and non-governmental organizations to supplement the care provided by family and provide care by caregiver and protection to vulnerable elderly people. That is the National Policy for Older Persons. Next, National Council for Older Persons, NCOP. The National Council for Older Persons, NCOP, was constituted in 1999 under the chairmanship of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment to operationalize the national policy on older persons. The NCOP is the highest body to advise government in the formulation and implementation of policy and programs for elderly. You can see the basic objective of this council. That is to advise the government on policies and programs for older persons, represent the collective opinion of elderly persons to the government, suggest steps to make older age productive and interesting, provide feedback to the government on the implementation of the NPOP as well as on specific programs initiatives for elderly, suggest measures to enhance the quality of intergenerational relationship, provide a nodal point at the national level for readdressing the grievances of older persons which are of an individual nature, provide lobby for rebates and discounts for older persons both with the government as well as with the cooperative sector. Work as a nodal point at the national level for redressing the grievances of elderly people. Undertake any other work or activity in the best interest of the elderly people. The council was reconstituted in 2005 and meet at least once every year. At present, there are 50 members in it. There are central and state government members, NGO citizens, retired persons, associations, and experts in the field of law, social welfare, and medical field members. These all are included in this council. Next council is Center Sector Scheme of Integrated Program for Older Persons, IPOP. Central Sector Scheme of Integrated Program for Older Persons, IPOP. An integrated program for older persons, IPOP, is being implemented since 1992 with the objective of improving the quality of life of senior citizens by providing basic amenities like food, shelter, medical care, entertainment opportunities, and by encouraging productive and active aging. Under this scheme, the financial assistance up to 90% of the project cost is provided to non-governmental organizations for running and maintenance of old age homes, daycare centers, and mobile medicine units. Several innovative projects have also been added to this program that include the maintenance of respite care homes and continuous care homes, sensitizing programs for children, particularly in school and colleges, regional resource and training centers for caregivers of elderly persons. That is specifically for there is Center for the Caregivers of Elderly Persons. The All India Bureau for Elderly Persons, formation of Association for Elderly. Helplines and counseling centers for older persons. These are all new initiatives, helplines and counseling centers. Then awareness generation programs for elderly persons and caregivers. Then running of daycare centers for patients of Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and for psychotherapy clinics for elderly people. Then providing disability and hearing aids for the elderly people. This all comes under Center Sector Scheme of Integrated Program for Older Persons. Actually, through newspapers, we are getting some information about all these programs. Government is distributing processes, aids for that means wheelchairs for the older persons. Then some eyeglasses for the older persons. This all we can see through the newspapers. But actually we are ignoring what it is. This all comes under some laws and comes under some special programs implemented by central government. Now we can see the eligibility criteria for beneficiaries of some important projects that supported by IPOP. Eligibility criteria, first one is old age homes for destitute elderly persons, respite care homes and continuous care homes for elderly persons who are seriously ill and require continuous nursing care and respite. Then mobile medical units, that's for older persons living in slums, rural and inaccessible areas where proper health facilities are not available. Then the amount of old age pension varies in different states as per their share to this scheme. The ministry is now implementing Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme, IGNOAPS. That's familiar for all us. Then under this scheme, central assistance in form of pension is given to persons above 65 years at a rate 200 per month belonging to a below poverty line family. That is Indira Gandhi National Old Age Pension Scheme. Now we move to another program, National Program for Health Care of Elderly, NPHC, National Program for Health Care of Elderly. The National Program for Health Care and Elderly, NPHC, is an articulation of the international and national commitments of the government as envisaged under UNCRPD. The National Policy Older Pensions MPOP adopted by the Government of India in 1999 and Section 20 of the Maintenance and Welfare Parents and Senior Citizens Act in 2007 dealing with the provisional for medical care of senior citizen. This program is based on these three aspects. Now, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, MOHFW, has taken appropriate steps in this regard by launching the National Program for Healthcare of Elderly as the centrally sponsored scheme under the new initiatives in 11th 5-year plan. Presently, it's rolled out in 100 districts. Now we may move to other policy. National Policy on Senior Citizen 2011. The foundation of National Policy for Senior Citizens in 2011 is based on several factors. Demographic explosion among elderly, the changing economy and social milieu, advancement in medical research, science and technology, and higher levels of destitution among elderly, rural, poor. In principle, the policy values an age-integrated society. It believes in the development of a formal and informal social support system so that the capacity of the family to take care of senior citizens is strengthened and they continue to live in the family. That's a new trend. All those of 60 years and above are senior citizens. The policy advocates issues related to senior citizens living in urban and rural area, special needs of the oldest old and older women. It will endeavor to strengthen integration between generations, facilitate interaction between the older and the young, as well as strengthen the bonds between different age groups. It believes in the development of a formal and informal social support system, so that the capacity to the family to take care of the senior citizen is strengthened and they continue to live in the family. That's our aim. The senior citizen must live in their own family. For that, this is a strong program. National Policy on Senior Citizen 2011. The policy seeks to reach out in particular to the bulk of senior citizens living in the rural areas and who were dependent on family bonds and intergenerational understanding and support. Now we can see the schemes of other ministries. Schemes and privileges. We have to discuss about some privileges. You know about simple privilege, the senior citizens. There is some seats reserved in the bus for senior citizens. That's a privilege. The same way, in each ministry, what all privileges they are providing for the senior citizens. The Ministry of Railway. The Ministry of Railway providing some privileges. There is separate ticket counters for the elderly people at various railway stations. Passenger reservation system centers are there for the senior citizens. Provision of lower berth quota, providing AC and sleeper classes for senior citizens. Provision of 30% discount in all mails and express. Then provision of wheelchairs at situations, means the person is having disabilities, at stations for the disabled elderly passengers. Railway grant 75% concession to senior citizens undergoing major heart and cancer operations from starting station to hospital station for self and one companion. These all are railway privileges. Now, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Central Government Health Scheme provides pensioners or central government officers the facility to obtain medicines for chronic ailments up to 3 months at a stretch. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare provides some facilities for the elder persons. First one, the provision of separate queues for elderly people in government hospitals. They should not wait for a long time to get the medicines. Setup of 2 national institutes on aging at Delhi and Chennai. Provision of geriatric clinic in several government hospitals. This all by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Now think about the Ministry of Finance. Some of the facilities for senior citizens provided by the Ministry of Finance are exemption from income tax for senior citizens of 60 years and above up to rupees 2.50 lakhs per annum. Then exemption from income tax for senior citizens of above 80 years up to 5 lakhs. For an individual who pays medical insurance premium for his or her parents or parents who are elderly or senior citizen, deduction of rupees 2 lakhs under section 80D is allowed. An individual is eligible for deduction of the amount spent or rupees 6 lakhs, whichever is less for medical treatment. These all are some provisions given by Ministry of Finance. Now, about the Department of Pension, has set up, already discussed, has set up a pension portal to enable senior citizens or elderly to get information regarding the status of their application, the amount of pension, documents required, etc. The portal also provides for lodging of grievances. Now, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, IRDA. Insurance Regulatory Development Authority. IRDA issued some instructions on health insurance for elderly or senior citizens to CEOs of all central health insurance companies. These instructions include allowing entry into health insurance scheme till age 65, provision of transparency in the premium charge, then reason to be recorded for denial of any proposal on all health insurance products catering to the needs of senior citizens. Now, next, Ministry of Civil Aviation. Under Ministry of Civil Aviation, the National Carrier Air India provides concession in airfare up to 50% for male passengers aged 65 years and above and female passengers aged 63 years and above on production of proof of age and nationality on date of commencement of journey. Then Ministry of Road Transport, that you know. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has provided reservation of 2 seats for elderly or senior citizens in front of the buses of the state road transport undertakings. Some state governments are providing fair concession to senior citizens in the state road transport undertaking buses. The state is Punjab. They are considering elderly as worthy. Elderly women above age 60 enjoy free travel in some state. Free pass are provided to old people who are freedom fighters to travel in fast and express buses in Kerala. That is the provision given by Kerala government. Some state government also introducing the bus models according to the convenience of the elderly. Low steps and all they are providing. Now, some miscellaneous laws. That's about All India we are considering. That's why Mumbai Police, that is Dignity Foundation and many other organizations have given helplines for senior citizens. Then MTNL gives 20% concession in rent of landline telephone. Then postal service schemes. Senior citizen savings scheme are there in postal service. Percent interest to elderly. It gives 12% interest to elderly. 1 lakh to 15 lakhs deposit. Monthly income scheme, return of 8% and a bonus of 10% on maturity. Then it's clear that there are a large number of associations for senior citizens have come up in all areas, giving opportunities to express and share their views, get knowledge about various facilities available, and get entertainment and group support, etc. We didn't discuss about some insurance schemes, how to specify some insurance schemes. There are several types of insurance scheme for the benefit of elderly people. It is introduced time by time by government and private insurance companies. They are Jeevan Thara, Jeevan Akshay, Jeevan Suraksha, Bima Nivesh, Senior Citizen Unit Plan, and several other medical insurance schemes like Group Medical Insurance Scheme, Jan Arogya. These all are some insurance schemes for senior citizens. Some are discontinued and some new versions are there now. That is Jeevan Dhara and all. New Jeevan Dhara, New Jeevan Akshay, New Jeevan Suraksha and New Jeevan Nivesh respectively. The name is changed. Then medical insurance scheme. The medical insurance scheme, also known as Mediclaim, is available to persons between age 5 years to 75 years. Earlier, the sum insured varies from rupees 1,50,000 to 30 lakhs and premium. The cover provides for reimbursement of medical expenses incurred by an individual towards hospitalization, domiciliary hospitalization for any illness, injury or disease that is occurred or sustained during the period of insurance. Next is Group Medical Insurance Scheme. The Group Mediclaim policy is available to any group, association or institution, corporate body for more than 100 persons, provided it has a central administration point. The policy covers reimbursement of hospitalization or domiciliary hospitalization expenses only for illness, disease, conducted or injury sustained by insured persons. The basic policy under this scheme is Mediclaim only. The policy is available to persons between the age 5 to 80 years. Jan Arogya is a primarily scheme that's meant for old age category. This is all about privileges, policies and programs for elderly. I think it's the rules, regulations, policies, and it's maybe very difficult for you to understand and do by heart. Still, how to study these policies and programs. Now we can discuss about the community-based programs and health services for elderly. I already discussed about privileges, programs and policies and all. Now some community-based health programs and health services. These are important as early interventions as they improve the subjective well-being of the elderly and improve the quality of life of the elderly. These services also strive to give a greater degree of functional ability and independence for the elderly. The community setup, these include, first one is outpatient clinic. These clinics are important for the assessment, investigations of the elderly persons during illness. That's follow mobile patients, some follow-up of mobile patients. That all conducted there in the outpatient clinic. Next is domiciliary visits. That is, increasingly the assessment and treatments are offered in the patient's own home, which is convenient. The community nurse is responsible for this work. She is acting as a bridge between the primary care and specialist service. Domiciliary visit also reduces the rate of hospital admissions. Community nurse, she is visiting the home and finding out the problems, old age problems, and reporting to the primary health center and providing medications or advice, and she is directing the person to consult the physician, like that. Domiciliary visits. Now, daycare centers. Daycare should provide a full range of diagnostic services and offer both short-term and continuing care for patients with functional or organic disorders, together with support for relatives. You know, daycare centers for children, the same way there are daycare center for old age. From the family, if they are caregivers, they are working category, they are sending the old age person to daycares, even though they are having some mental disorders or cognitive impairments or physical disorders. The daycare center, there are staffs, medical staffs, nursing staffs are there, other educated professionals are there. They are giving care for these elderly persons. There are few daycare centers that's owned by NGOs in India. That is HelpAge India. They started few daycare centers. Next one is residential care and nursing care. The residential care involves accommodation ranging from independent housing to sheltered housing schemes. Independent housing and sheltered housing schemes. In residential homes, the needs of the elderly that can be met by care assistants and relatively little training they are having, the care assistants. Their needs are met by the care assistants. The nursing care involves trained nurses are there and is for individual with more medical problems. Different types of persons are there. Individual having more problems, nursing care is provided by trained nursing persons. The residents in both the setup face more cognitive impairment, depression and behavioral disturbances. They also getting proper care there in the residential care facilities. Means some persons suffering from inadequate quality of medical care, they can also depend these residential care facilities. Now, next one is hospital care. This can be either acute or long-term care. Hospital care, acute care is there, long-term care is there. Acute care for mild illnesses and long-term care for lifestyle diseases. And if there is a diabetic under, the person need long-term care. Inpatient teams should be able to provide multidisciplinary assessment and treatment of patients with severe health problems. However, the prompt discharge should be the aim in acute care setup because of the vulnerability of the elderly nosocomial infections. In acute care settings, we are trying our maximum to send them back to home in order to prevent the nosocomial infections. Next is respite care. Respite care, it is essentially a professional colloquialism and is multi-agency response to the needs of carers. That is the respite care. How to consider the caregiver aspects too. Respite care involves care given to the elderly so that the caregiver can take time off or to relax or to take care of other responsibilities. Respite can vary in time from part of a day to several weeks. Respite care, that's a special agency. We are providing care for a part of a day. If the caregiver wants to go to church or wants to go to participate in a marriage function, that respite care facility is there for part of a day. It encompasses a wide variety of services that including traditional home-based care as well as adult daycare, skilled nursing, home health and short-term institutional care. Home health care is there, home nursing care is there, short-term nursing care is there. The respite care decreases the family stress and improves the family functioning, life satisfaction, attitude towards family members with the disabilities, and the physical and emotional health of the elderly. Means the caregivers, they are there with the patient for 24 hours. If you are providing some rest for the caregivers, gives much privileges. Means the family bond that becoming in good manner. The same way means the caregiver is getting more time to spend for his or her own needs. That's all the advantages of this respite care. The respite care that significantly decreases the need for costly out-of-home placement such as hospitalization and nursing home care. It also reduces the elder abuse. For a part-time, if you are seeking assistance from a respite care, it saves our money too. Now, the home-based setup. Informal care often provided by spouses, adult children and other family members that accounts for most of the care of elderly currently receiving in developing countries. You know, our parents, they are living with us in our home. So, we all are providing care for our parents. That is a home-based setup. Even today, the younger generation in India, it sees it as their responsibility to take care of their parents, elderly, and under social, sometimes it may be under social or cultural pressure to do so. That we don't know. Some by them, some they like. It's there. They are taking it's their own responsibility to take care of the parents. Some under pressure taking care of the parents due to cultural views. Care provided at home, that is often considered the preference of the elderly and the cost is most often borne by the family. However, despite the increasing demand for home-based care due to population aging, factors like urbanization, migration, breakup of the joint family system, change in the role of women from being full-time carers, decreasing fertility rates, means that future cohort of elderly will have smaller networks of potential family caregivers. This all realities what we are facing. Almost all families are having one or two children. So the network is very less. No time for take care of the elderly. Consider a family, single family, husband, wife and their children, and they have to earn something means they must go for work. That time a disabled means the parent is there at home, it's difficult for them to take care of the parent. Due to all these factors and more, the Indian families will need more active help from other supporting systems. With advancement in technology, advancement in other criterias, and women are educated more, that means we need some other modes of healthcare systems. Now comes the home assisted care. For those individuals who cannot visit the daycare center, community health professional will pay home. They will pay the home visits to provide necessary help to the patients and probably more to their relatives. You know one home assisted care unit, that is palliative care unit from Panchayat itself. Some palliative care units are there. They are visiting the home. That is not paid actually. They are removing the catheters and replacing the catheters, like some medications they are providing. That palliative care from through PHC. There are some palliative care facilities. Now comes self-help group. A group of senior citizens only. They started a self-help group. This group, like other self-help groups, can meet on regular basis and help other senior citizens and organize various activities for them on regular basis. A group of senior citizens, some may have psychological problems, some may have spiritual problems, some may have physical problems. A group, they are sharing and they are educating each other, means they can solve many problems and give care for the elderly. Next, foster families. That's the new trend. The concept of foster family, they may work both the ways for senior citizens. Either, both the ways it's working, foster family. Either they may adopt a needy young individuals or a couple and provide them an accommodation, food and financial assistance in lieu of physical and nursing care provided by them, or the young and working couple may adopt the elderly individuals or a couple and provide them accommodation, food and financial help in lieu of housekeeping and child care provided to their children by the elderly individuals. These all are the two modes. First mode, the elderly person adopt couple or a family. The other thing, a family adopt older person. These two are the modalities, foster families, provided each party have to pay and support each other. That's the condition in foster homes. Then this foster home facility, that's not there in our India. Oh, I have not heard about the foster home functioning in India. Then this all about the community based programs and health services. Now we can discuss about some special health problems of the older adult. Actually that is not mentioned in your syllabus. Also these all health problems that we are discussing in many units of the medical surgical care. That's why I will mention and skip these portions. Special healthcare problems of the older adult. First one is altered response to medications. Older person, there is a possibility for altered response to medications. Adults over age 65, they consume 30% to 40% of all prescription drugs and an even higher proportion of over-the-counter drugs. You know about that. They are using some Ayurvedic preparations, Homeo preparations, Unani preparations, whatever they get to alleviate their pain or suffering. All the person they are taking over the counter medication 40% and 30% on the prescription medications they are using. Age-related changes that predisposes older adult to problems with medication and its own adverse effects. Pathophysiology and etiology of this problem, that we're discussing about the pathology and etiology. You know that drug absorption that is affected by age-related changes like decreased gastric acid, decreased GI motility, then decreased gastric blood flow and changes in the GI villi, decreased blood flow and body temperature. Temperature in rectum, these all are the affected by age factors, decreased absorption. Now, drug distribution that is affected by many factors like decreased body size, decreased water content in the body, decreased total body fat. Drug distribution in water have a higher concentration in elderly patients. Example, gentamicin and garamicin distribution have a higher concentration. That drug distributed in fat have a wider distribution and less intense but prolonged effect. That phenobarbital is the example. Now we move to drug metabolism in older adults is altered by decrease in liver size, blood flow, enzyme activity and protein synthesis. Requires more time than in younger adults. Therefore, there is increased drug activity time in drugs that are metabolized in the liver. That is propranolol, indirol, theophylline and all. Now, excretion of drug is altered in older adults due to the following changes. These changes are decreased renal and tubular function and blood flow. Then this causes a decrease in renal filtration and an increased blood levels of drugs that are excreted through the kidneys. Example, cimetidine. Tagamet is having this problem. Now, nursing assessment is very important. There is chances for drug toxicity as well as drug overload. Then there is a decreased therapeutic effect of the drug. That's why nursing assessment is very important. Nursing assessment include drug toxicity in elderly are different in different people. So how to assess for the signs and symptoms of drug toxicity, ask the persons what they are experiencing, ask them whether they are receiving the expected effect from a particular drug. Suppose they are having pain and they are having a painkiller, analgesic, but they may be complaining that there is no reduction in the pain. The same way, the effect of the drug we have to assess. Then fewer symptoms that you can identify is reactions to some medications. The person may show some symptoms like excessive sleep, drowsiness, then some gastric disturbances and or then some behavioral and cognitive changes the person may show. These all you must observe thoroughly. Then dementia, anorexia, nausea, these all are some effects of drugs. Then allergic reactions, even skin allergy you can observe on the patient. This all the assessment the nurse has to do. The nurse patient care considerations, about the nursing considerations. Maintain awareness that the older adult is at a greater risk for adverse side effects of the drug. You must educate that these all are the normal changes that are happening in your body and there is a greater risk for you to have these all problems. Then the risk increases from 6% when 2 drugs are taken to 50% when 5 different drugs are taken and 100% when 8 or more drugs are taken. You know that the older adult, they may be receiving neuro medicines, cardiac medicines, then other medicines for pain alignment, means relief. So they may be receiving more than 10 medications per day. So say them, it's like that there is more risk, 100% risk is there if they are having many types of drugs. Then assess the patient's ability to follow the medication regimen by evaluation of. Some may having the medications, their own medications they are taking, themselves they are taking medications. So how to assess the ability to follow the instructions. If there is any problems with the cognition, they can't understand what is the instructions given. There is any problems with eyesight or hearing, problems are there, may not be able to understand how to understand the instructions given on the paper. So it's very again some more problems with the chewing, swallowing and all, how to assess for the chewing difficulty, swallowing difficulty. Then check to other lifestyle patterns. Along with this medication, sometimes they may having alcohol or they may be having the smoking habit. Then another factor is their ability to afford the medications. All the medications are costly, so the person is having some problems to afford that problem. Then next you have to assess about the caregiver involvement in providing medications. These all are the, then identify the problems in the use of medications. Use of medications, that means lack of knowledge about the drugs. That's then antibiotic and all, how to take the antibiotic. They may not be aware the importance of taking the antibiotic at the correct time. Then multiple medications and difficult administration techniques. Multiple medications and how to administer that before food or after food, how to administer, they are not aware of that. Sometimes they may be consulting a neurologist, the same way they may be consulting a cardiologist. The neurologist will prescribe this receptor antagonist. Cardiologist also prescribe the same. Sometimes the old age person, he may be having two receptor antagonists at the same time. These all are some problems faced by the persons. Then caregiver misunderstanding of the medicine use. So if, sometimes there are some patient shows some agitation or irritation. The caregiver may complain that the dose is not sufficient to cope up with the problem. So the caregiver himself can increase the dose of the medication, or sometimes they may provide a sleeping medication for the patient. Then appropriate interventions for safe drug use, that include obtain a complete drug history, then reinforce verbal instructions with the written instructions using large print, that means a simple wording. If we want, you can have, it's better to keep each medication, each container, and how to label it properly, or use different colors for writing heading of the medications. For morning medications one color, evening medications one color, like that. You can easy for them to identify how to take the medications. Then write what the drug is used for and what the adverse effect of the drug. Then it means sometimes they don't know for what purpose it is using. This is for this particular purpose. This is for pain. This is a painkiller. This is for stomach problems. This is for gastric irritation. That way, for what purpose they have to take the medication. What's the purpose of particular drug? That also you can write and give. Then arrange medication schedule to coin with regular activities such as eating. Simply the drug regimens as much as possible. So, along with the eating means meal time, you can provide medication. So arrange medications in such way. Yes, they make sure that the patient or the caregiver can able to open the medicine container. It's easy for them. It's very difficult to open. It means they may not take the medications. Some medication strips and all, it's very difficult to peel it off. So make sure the person is able to know how to peel off the strip. This is important. Then necessary arrangement, a check-off systems using chart to ensure the adherence to medications. The number of medications, you should keep a checklist for that. Some painkillers means the old person, in order to really get relief from the pain, when pain medications they might have taken early morning, again after 1 or 2 or if it's not reducing, means there is a tendency for them to use one more tablet. So I means a system using a chart to ensure the over medications or adherence to medications. Then ask the patient to bring all medications for evaluation in between to hospital. Then encourage the patient to discard all old medications or unneeded medications and to check the expiry date of medications. They are not high. If they are having the eyesight problems, it's difficult for them to check the expiry dates. Better they can bring all medication to hospital and the doctor can remove the unnecessary medications from their medication box. Then encourage the patient to store the medications in original containers in a day. Some medications in dark places you have to keep, in a dry places you have to keep, and some medication you have to keep in the fridge. So instruct them properly. Then encourage the patient to avoid over-the-counter medications without checking with the primary care provider before the use. As a tendency, paracetamol and all over-the-counter medication they are taking, and then painkillers also. They encourage the patient to report the adverse effects of the drug, then work with the patient to maintain a medication regimens and follow the strict regimen. This all about the nursing management. Now, community and home care considerations. Ask the patient and family to bring in all the medications for clinic once they are attending the clinic or coming to the physician. Ask the patient what vitamins, minerals, and herbal supplements and on the over-the-counter medications they are taking. That means for arthritis pain, they may be getting medication from Ayurveda medical shop. The same way may be receiving some Unani medications, or they may be using some herbal medications along with this hospital prescribed medications. So ask them about all these histories. The doctor may be prescribing some vitamins and minerals. The person also by himself he is taking some minerals and vitamins. Anyway, ask about all these histories. Then alert the patient and family members that many natural products sold over the counter still may cause adverse reactions and so toxicity for the patients if he is taking the medications along with the prescribed medications. Then warn the patients and family that many complementary and alternative therapies do not have proven effectiveness despite of this advertisement. We are just they are believing on this complementary therapies. So advise them they have to take proper medications on advice. Otherwise there is no problem solving. This all about the medication. One problem is over, special care over. Now about the altered nutritional status. The normal age-related changes already we discussed that related to taste, smell and all. Then changes in the oral cavity and changes in the dentures and changes in the GI system. These all factors can affect the nutritional status of a person. Even the psychological factors, the sensory factors, alcohol use, the family problems, unemployment, poverty, these all factors that can interfere with the nutritional problems of the patient. Then even the medications can interfere the nutritional status. Then some dysphagia and difficulty in swallowing. Then with the age there is decreased the need for the food also, so they might not be taking adequate food. Whatever it may be, the nursing assessment means be alert of the patient who complains of difficulty in swallowing and difficulty in managing saliva, which of the cough and swallowing or means difficulty, this all they will complain. Choking tendencies are there, have to be careful. Then assess for absent or diminished gag reflexes. Assess for 10% weight loss is there or not, you have to assess. Determine the cholesterol level or all other blood values, better to check on what type of diet they are receiving. It's not clear for us. It's better to see the renal function, liver function and the cholesterol level and all, better to check. Then nursing care considerations. Teach the family and the patient about the significance of taking basic diet, normal diet or therapeutic diet. Then encourage good mouth care. Then encourage the patient to avoid alcohol and encourage them to avoid smoking. Review all prescription of all the over-the-counter medications and encourage them to avoid medications because the medications can alter the nutritional intake. Then you should be careful about the preparation of the food. Different items you can prepare, different varieties you can prepare. Attractively you can serve food for the older adult. This all can increase the intake of the food. Then encourage the patient to take more time to have food. There may be difficulties in chewing, swallowing and all. Means it's better you can arrange 5 to 6 small meals for the older adults than 3 times meal pattern. Then appropriate, encourage the family to bring the food and favorite food for the person. Then in means once while providing also should be provided attractively. Position the food properly in a plate. Separate containers is better to give. That's nice. If this identify the patient's likes and dislikes, and according to that you have to serve food for the patient. Then community and home considerations, older adults at home eat well, balanced diets very important. Maintaining optimal nutritional status is important. Suggest vitamin preparations, vitamin and mineral supplementary preparations in order to cope up with the decreased food intake. Vitamin A, D, E and K with the food. Advise calcium and iron also. Always taking calcium iron and zinc at least 2 hours apart, and taking vitamins at the same time daily. That's about the advice. Then next we can deal with the next problem is urinary incontinence. You know the nursing care of urinary incontinence and all. You know what all are the reasons and changes that takes place in the urinary system. We already discussed that. That is to there are 5 basic types of incontinence are there. That also you study the stress incontinence, urgent incontinence, overflow, yeah. Then mixed and functional incontinence. So whatever it may be the incontinence, should be take care of the patient. And nursing assessment, reversible causes of incontinence, how to assess. That is the DRIP, that drip, that D indicated delirium, a new onset of delirium is there. Then R means restricted mobility and retention is there, or what. I, infections is there, sudden onset of cystitis, inflammation, any infections, impaction or any there. Then P means polyuria is there. That's a drip method, you have to assess the patient. Then nursing and urinary tract infections, if any infections is there, you have to assess that. You have to see the color and consistency of the urine. Encourage them to check the urine frequently if they are facing any problems. Then urinary tract functions you have to assess. Then bladder filling capacity, how to assess. Nursing and patient considerations include tell the patient to first practice stopping the stream of urine while voiding to identify proper concentration of the pubicoapical muscles, and contraction will result in stopping flow and relaxation allows the flow. Then this in order to strengthen the muscles, a proper voiding technique they can use. Then and then the exercise can be practiced anywhere at daytime or night time. You have to strengthen the abdominal muscles also. This all has to solve these problems. Then next, behavioral training programs you can implement for the patient to control these problems. Other interventions means bladder training programs, scheduling the toileting, habit training programs, then prompted voiding, then appropriate use of incontinence aids such as pads and diapers. That we are using appropriate use of pads and diapers. These all are about the urinary incontinence. Now next problem is urinary retention. That also we discussed the management including retention. If it is due to any obstructions, how to treat for particular problems or the health problems of the patient. If it is due to some other problems, retention means the last measure is to catheterize the patient. Solve the problem. I'm not going to discuss about the retention in detail. Next, another problem is fecal incontinence. The same way, how to about the systemic changes that occur as a process of normal aging. That may lead to some fecal incontinence problems or dietary changes in dietary habits or changes in the mobility, means exercise habits and lifestyle changes. These all can interfere the normal pattern, bowel pattern. The person can have the fecal incontinence or that constipation. Both the old age is facing with both these problems. The nursing interventions of fecal incontinence and constipation. Here also the last measure to use the diapers for patients. Now Another major problem faced by these older adults are pressure sores, occurrence of pressure ulcers. The decubitus ulcer or the pressure ulcer are localized ulcers of the skin or deeper structures, most commonly result from prolonged bedridden status. The Bowman's promise that is there are many reasons for formation of the pressure ulcer. The important reason is pressure. The person is lying on bed for a long time and without changing the positions, there is chances of occurrence of pressure ulcers. Once it formed means it may go in deep and that create problems for the patient. The same way can how the patient can have infections related to this pressure ulcers. It's very painful and it's very discomfort for the patient. Anyway, in order to prevent that, we have to change the position of the patient. See that the particular areas is having adequate circulation, massage the areas, give by care for the patient, encourage to have nutritious diet, then then friction, how to in order to avoid friction, means wrinkleless bed you have to provide for the patient. And you know about what's pressure ulcer care and studied in the first year related to pressure ulcer. That also I am not going to discuss the stages. So while writing you might write about all these things, what are the stages of ulcers, then prevent the pressure ulcer development, what are measures we can take, then the relieve the pressure, how to relieve the pressure, clean and how to clean the wound and take care of the wound, what about the local infections, how to cover the wound, then these all things you mentioned, the care of patients with the pressure ulcers. Uh, Last and the other most important problem is the osteoporosis is another important special issue. Osteoporosis is a condition in which the bone matrix is lost, thereby weakening the bones and making them more susceptible to fracture. This is a main problem faced by old age persons. The bone mineral density is 2.5 standard deviations below the peak bone density for young adult. T score is 2.5. Decrease in bone density of 1.5 to 2.5 below young adult is termed osteopenia. T score 1.5 to minus 2.5. That it is the most age-related metabolic bone disorder for the persons. Then the theology and pathophysiology we are considering, you already studied about the osteoporosis. The rate of bone reabsorption increases or the rate of bone formation causing the loss of bone mass, that is this. The calcium and phosphate salts are lost and creating porous and brittle bones. Occurs most commonly in postmenopausal women but may also occur in men. Other factors include the age, inactivity, chronic illness, and medications such as corticosteroids, excessive thyroid replacement medications, cyclosporins, then calcium and vitamin D deficiency, family history, smoking and alcoholism use, then diet, caffeine has been linked to the risk factor for osteoporosis, then the body type, small frame, short structures and low body means low body fat, there is chances for this osteoporosis. Clinical manifestations, that is asymptomatic until later stages, that is the disadvantage. It's not able to find out the person is having osteoporosis. The fracture after minor trauma may be first indication for this osteoporosis. Most frequently the fractures are associated with the osteoporosis including even distal radius fracture and vertebral body fracture and then the patient may have vague complaints related to aging process, stiffness, pain and weakness. Then estrogen deficiency may be noted. Diagnostic, as a diagnostic evaluation, we can have X-rays, dual energy X-ray that you can have. Then serum urine calcium levels, serum and urine calcium levels you have to determine. Then serum bone matrix glycoproteins, it's a marker. It's not necessary to do all these investigations and all. Sometimes bone biopsy is also there. It's not necessary. Still, just depend on the problems or the signs or symptoms. You have to treat and take care of this problem. Management include adequate intake of calcium, 1.5 gram per day. That is the preventive aspect. Then adequate intake of vitamin D. Vitamin D plays a major role in calcium absorption and bone health. You know that. Then major food source of dairy products, eggs, yolks, fish and liver. Daily intake should be below 400 to 800 international units. Then weight bearing exercises, walking, that is important. Throughout the life, have to follow these instructions. Then hormone replacement therapy. Then estrogen receptor agonist you can provide for the patient. That loxifene, estrogen receptor agonist. Then calcitonin administered by nasal spray may help to prevent spinal fractures. Then bisulfophosphonates such as residronate actone. Then another is a parathyroid hormone and prevention of falls. These are the management. Then complications, there is fracture complication, progressive kyphosis, then also height, chronic back pain. These are some complications. Nursing assessment, how to obtain nursing history and how to avoid the risk factors of falls and nursing pain. Diagnosis mainly involve chronic pain related to vertebral compression fracture in the late stages of osteoporosis. Nursing intervention means intention is to reduce pain. Then patient education is important. Community and home care consideration also, you have to instruct and educate the patient regarding osteoporosis. These all are some special considerations you must given for elderly related to the care.